Hi, and welcome to the Divinely Inspired Woman podcast. I am your host, Patricia Wald-Hopkins. I am a modern mystic, and I am here to share with you the beautiful wisdom and stories from women that desire to lead their lives inspired by the divine within them. The divinely inspired woman is devoted to walking the path of her soul's calling, tuning into the divinity within to navigate life with ease and grace through all circumstances. She cultivates beauty in her daily life. She is here to share the most authentic self each day through thick and thin. So I hope you'll enjoy our show today and that you will leave with an infusion of inspiration for your soul and for your day and living your life. Hello there. My name is Patricia Wald-Hopkins, and I am your host for the Divinely Inspired Woman podcast. So glad to be here with you all. This podcast is for women that desire to lead their lives inspired by the divine within them. The divinely inspired woman is devoted to walking the path of her soul's calling. She tunes into the divinity within to navigate life with ease and grace. She cultivates divine beauty in her daily life. She's here to share the most authentic self each day through thick and thin. I will be interviewing guests on the show that are on this path at whatever, level, beginners, all the way to, masters. And that's the beauty of it, is that we all get to share our wisdom and inspire one another through our beautiful stories. I will be also sharing one-on-one various tools that I use and practices to walk the path of the divinely inspired woman. So this podcast will be a mixture of me sharing some tools and then having guests. And I am a woman entrepreneur or soulpreneur, you might say. And I have been walking this path of divine inspiration for over 14 years, really stepping into my soul's calling of enriching people's lives with soul level transformation through my healing arts background and my method, the butterfly healing method, through my Akashic wisdom guidance, and my Gene Keys work as a Gene Keys ambassador and guide. I've been working with the Gene Keys for nearly 7 years now. I'm a modern mystic and an author and an artist. I have collaborated on many multi-author books and just really enjoy that whole process of sharing wisdom with others, the synergy of it and the way that that creates a greater impact and reach for inspiring people in their daily lives. I am also, I call myself a modern mystic because I am also a scientist. I have a background, I have degrees in biology and environmental toxicology, and I really just have a love and a passion for wellness at the macro and the micro level. So understanding our biological systems and how divine inspiration actually affects the epigenetics, right, of your expression in the world. And so it's important to live in a healthy world, healthy environment, as well as to eat well and to take care of your body. All these things affect your expression, your authentic expression. They change your biochemistry, right? And you can reach higher levels of consciousness when you are, in situations and in environments and in relationships that nurture wellness and well-being. And so I work with my clients, in my private practice as a massage therapist and a craniosacral therapist, aromatherapy, crystal therapy, as well, to help them tune their bodies through that butterfly healing method so that they can be primed to follow their divine inspiration in their soul's calling, right? It's important to take care of the body temple so that you can follow your soul's calling, so that you can do your workout in the world and feel well and feel nourished. And so many women who will come on this show will have their stories of how they have taken care of themselves, what has awakened them to lead a life that's divinely inspired. It is a lifestyle, right? Being divinely inspired is a commitment. It's a devotion to self, to authentic self. And you can use so many different tools, things that affect the body, the emotions, your mental body, and spiritual practices, all to hone in and refine what it is that you share with the world. And so I've been on this path, like I said, for the last 14 years, at least in the spiritual soulpreneur world. I've been working in environmental health for over 25 years. And so I just have a deep love for the earth and for humanity, for animals. I am a priestess of Gaia Sophia, and all my work, I grounded in to the presence of honoring the land upon which we live and the original ancestors. And all of our ancestors, we each have a unique blueprint of what we brought in from not just our blood lineage, but the mystical realms, the angelic realms, the star realms, the star seeds, the fairies, fairy realms, elementals, all of these different places that, make up who we are. And that's where we get our divine inspiration from too, is the connection to our infinite self. And I've actually created an oracle card deck called the Infinite Self Oracle Card Deck, which I also use in my business to help people find what their infinite self blueprint is. It's broken into 5 categories. 2 of them are healing. One is for chakra healing and karmic healing, and then the other ones are for the elemental self-wisdom, the cosmic self-wisdom, and the higher self-wisdom. And so we'll talk a little bit about those too as we go on through this show, and I share some of my tools, and as well as gene keys and touch in on human design, and on just some basic astrology, and invite in some experts in these areas to talk to us about this. We'll also talk about environmental health in certain ways, essential oils and crystals, a lot of metaphysical transmissions, as well as practices and wisdom. And we'll bring in the Akashic records and do some clearing work and some activations. And so I'm really super excited to begin this podcast and have my guests come in. It's been something I've always wanted to do, but never really knew how to get into it. And so I'm grateful to be at a point in my life where I'm doing it. I'm also a wife and a mother of 3 children, and I have 3 dogs and 3 cats, and I live in northern New Mexico in the high desert. And it's beautiful here, surrounded by nature. And I love to spend time outside. I love to run and ride my bike and hike. And I love to paint and create digital art, collages. I'm a creative, I'm a creatrix. And so I have a sense that the people who will come here as a guest or to listen are also nature loving creatives, mystics, medicine women, holistic health practitioners, artists, writers, activists, leaders, and definitely leaders. Sacred feminine leadership is a huge part of living as the divinely inspired woman. And I also have a whole body of work called Emissaries of Sacred Earth that has to do with identifying your sacred feminine leadership codes. And if you have a business, your sacred feminine business blueprints, as well as your sacred feminine lifestyle blueprints. And so we'll touch into those as we go forward in this podcast. I also do a lot of deep liberation of the soul work through the Akashic records. And so we may touch in on that as well as an infinite self catalyst, really opening people up to see their greater nature, and, living from the soul, following your soul's calling. So I'm really grateful, again, like I've said, probably many times already during this intro podcast, but I want this podcast to be playful and inspiring, and yet I want it to be deeply soulful and enriching for my listeners and my guests. We all need a daily dose of soul food, spiritual vitamins and infusions, right? Vibrations that lift you up and expand your consciousness and inspire you to stay the course even when times are challenging. That's part of being human and living a divinely inspired life, is to be able to deal with change and chaos, because from chaos comes creativity and the new. So I hope you will enjoy the shows and take away some divine inspiration for your day each time. Thank you so much for listening today, and please stay tuned for the episodes that are to come. Thank you. Thank you for listening to this episode of The Divinely Inspired Woman. Again, I'm your host, Patricia Wald-Hopkins, and I am so glad that you joined us here today. I hope you left with some soul food to inspire your daily life. And if you would like to learn more about my work, please check out my website, patriciawaldhopkins.com, and you can find out more about my divinely inspired practice and tools. So, thank you again. Have a beautiful day.